nothing but the truth. Hello, I'm Raj Chengappa from India Today and your host for Nothing But the Truth. Every week, we will deal with key issues of concern and bring you perspectives and clarity as to why these matter to you and what is the one clear truth that emerges. In this episode, we will focus on Gautam Adani, founder-chairman of the Adani Group. With a personal net worth of over $125 billion, he is now the world's third richest individual. He's also the richest Indian and Asian. Adani's empire is expanding at an explosive rate, and his group is now India's second most valuable firm, just behind the Tata Group. Not bad for a self-made billionaire who has achieved all this in the span of just 3 decades. Adani is not one to flaunt his vast wealth. Rather than use his fleet of expensive cars, he prefers to come to office in a jet black, bulletproof Toyota Alphard with a convoy of bodyguards accompanying him. So what is the mantra of success of this first generation entrepreneur? Recently, along with my India Today colleague MG Arun, I spent 90 minutes at his headquarters in Ahmedabad asking Gautam Adani questions like what drives him, what were the turning points of his life, his style of management, what does money mean to him, and also how does he view criticism against him, especially about his success being because of his perceived closeness to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I then sat down with Gautam Adani and had a separate on-the-record interview with him for India Today magazine as well as TV. So out of these, I've gleaned 10 major mantras of Adani's success. And let's begin by looking at the turning points of his life, which in many ways formulated his key mantras for success. First, a bit about his early life. Gautam Adani was the 7th of 8 children in a middle-class family. He grew up in Ahmedabad, where his father Shantilal Adani was a textiles and commodity trader. But while Gautam was good at studies, he dropped out after passing his 10th class and decided to head to Mumbai. He traveled in 3rd class by train. Those days we had such a classification, and became a diamond trader. His logic was simple. His elder brothers had gone on to do higher studies, but they still returned to work in the family business. He believes that while education equips you with knowledge, his life experiences is what gave him the wisdom. For him, the combination of knowledge and wisdom is what makes a person successful. So, to me, the first big mantra of Adani's success is that he believes in learning by earning, a model which essentially means you're going to learn a lot more by doing things practically rather than theoretical lessons. Adani's first big break as an entrepreneur came when his elder brother bought a plastics factory in Ahmedabad and asked him to return from Mumbai to help run it. The young Gautam soon found that the raw material shortage was acute, not just for his brother's factory, but for thousands of others, small-scale manufacturers in the region. So when Rajiv Gandhi, as Prime Minister, liberalized the export-import policy in 1985, Adani seized the opportunity and began importing raw materials and supplying them to factories at a profit. This is what Gautam Adani told me about that particular experience.
Many will be surprised to know that it all began during the tenure of Sri Rajiv Gandhi as a Prime Minister, when he first liberalized the EXIM policy, and for the first time, several items were brought in the open general license list. That is what helped me to start my export house. But for Rajiv Gandhi, my journey as an entrepreneur would never have taken off.
The second big turning point would come in 1991 for Adani when the Narasimha Rao government ended the license Raj. Rao, along with his finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, ushered in economic liberalization, including opening up infrastructure development to public-private partnerships. With the margins for imports declining, Adani decided to expand his export business and went public with his company. It was called the Adani Exports, and he became highly successful at it. That comes to the second mantra for Adani's success: never let go an opportunity.
The second big push I got was in 1991, when the duo of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh ji initiated sweeping economic reforms. Just like many other entrepreneurs, I too was a beneficiary of those reforms.
While the young Gautam was a savvy exporter, he soon realized that the real value of a company lay in creating assets. It was in 1995 that the third big turning point unveiled itself when Keshubhai Patel, the then Gujarat Chief Minister, decided to push hard on developing the state's coastal region. And here again, Adani can tell the tale of what happened.
The third turning point for me came in 1995 when Keshubhai Patel was sworn in as a Gujarat Chief Minister. Until then, all industrial development in Gujarat was only around National Highway 8 from Mumbai to Delhi via cities like Vapi, Ankleshwar, Bharuch, Silvassa, Vadodara, Surat and Ahmedabad. He was a visionary and a focused on a coastal development. And it was that policy change that took me to Mundra and prompted me to build our first port.
It was around this time that global commodities trader Cargill wanted to source salt produced across the Kutch coastline in Gujarat and chose Mundra as the best possible location to develop a deep water port. Cargill entered into a partnership with Adani Exports to build a jetty, but subsequently backed out of the deal. Adani saw opportunity in the crisis. As a trader, he knew how profitable a port could be. He then applied for permission to convert the jetty into a full-fledged port. By 2001, he had won the rights to run the Mundra port for 30 years. The third big mantra of Adani's success is never waste a crisis. And as he put it in his interview with me,
I have faced adversity and crisis from my childhood. Each of these occasions has taught me several valuable lessons and made me stronger. It is for this reason that I always tell my team, never waste a crisis.
Mundra, in fact, would be the biggest turning point of Adani's life. If others dismiss Mundra as a vast, marshy coastline in the wilderness, and I did visit that port and it is really in the back of beyond, Adani saw it as a port town that would be the platform to achieve his dreams. Gautam steadily acquired vast tracts of land in Mundra, and he now has over 15,000 hectares spanning 40 kilometers of coastline. He would convert it into a state-of-the-art port and the largest port facility in the country. But I'm jumping ahead of the story. Adani's fourth turning point would come when Narendra Modi became the surprise Chief Minister of Gujarat in 2001. As Chief Minister, Modi launched a series of programs to promote massive economic development of the state of Gujarat. Let's listen to how Adani describes that particular period.
The fourth turning point was in 2001, when Gujarat witnessed a massive focus on development under Chief Minister Narendra Modi ji. His policies and their implementations went on to not only change the economic landscape of the state, but it also brought social transformations and development of previously underdeveloped areas. It also allowed industries and employment to take off like never before.
This would also lay the ground for Adani and the way he would expand his empire. Adani's fourth big mantra for success was to align his business vision with the priorities of the government of the day. The Mundra port provided a gateway for Adani to enter other businesses. He went into power generation because he was already a large importer of coal, apart from owning large tracts of land in Mundra that allowed him to set up thermal power plants. Then came his transmission, distribution and renewable businesses, as they were natural extensions of power, as was supplying piped gas. He got into managing airports and building highways and roads, as these were extensions of the infrastructure story. When I asked Adani why he went into infrastructure in such a big way, this was his explanation.
I was born in a middle-class family, and I lived through the 90s, 70s and 80s, when we had to struggle for Bijli, Sadak and Pani. That was a time when India had a huge infrastructure deficit in ports, airports and many other infrastructure areas. In contrast, China, which also became independent around the same time as India and had lower per capita income than India in 1990, began leapfrogging ahead of India in development. All this issue instilled a huge desire in me to do whatever I could do to transform India, particularly in infrastructures.
Adani called these expansions adjacencies, a peculiar word which means expanding into businesses that were aligned with his core business of running ports. That would in fact become Adani's fifth mantra for success, which is when you expand your businesses, make sure they are connected by dots to your existing strengths. In a little over a decade, Adani has become India's largest private sector power producer, port operator, airport operator, consumer gas, business and electric transmission company, apart from being the largest infrastructure developer and generator of renewable energy. As his empire expanded rapidly, his critics would say that his meteoric rise was because of his perceived closeness with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Adani denies that charge. He has been careful to maintain relationships across party lines, making him acceptable to every government. He has concluded projects under the Congress government, the BJP government, the National Democratic Alliance, the left parties in Kerala, and even Mamata Banerjee of the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal. So not depending on any individual leader, government or party is Adani's sixth mantra for success. Adani also vehemently refutes the charge that his success is linked with the rise of Narendra Modi, telling me,
see, Prime Minister Modi and myself, both are coming from state of Gujarat. And that makes me the easy target of such baseless allegations. The fact of the matter is that my professional success is not because of any individual leader, but because of the policy and institutional reforms initiated by several leaders and governments during a long period of over 3 decades.
Adani has in fact faced many other criticisms. Many of Adani's projects have come under attack and have seen massive protests, including in Indonesia and recently in Kerala and Jharkhand. Adani says protests do not bother him as they are, and I quote him, an essential part of the democratic process. And he goes on to add, and let us listen to him.
I'm conscious that neither am I perfect, nor am I always right. Every criticism gives me an opportunity to improve myself.
Adani has remained resilient and persevered with his goals. That, in fact, is his seventh mantra for success: never ever give up. So how does Adani manage such a vast empire, and what is his management style? Adani is said to have a unique ability to build and maintain relationships. He has a reputation for not backing out of any deals he enters to, and there is plenty of examples of that. His executives are encouraged to take big bets and treat wrong decisions as part of the learning curve. Insiders say he gives operational freedom to the CEOs and keeps his focus on the broader strategies and capital allocation apart from doing periodical reviews. Adani, in fact, leans on his gut feeling while making decisions. He told me he prefers simple and logical solutions and absolutely loathes jargon. The eighth big mantra of Adani's success is his ability to delegate work to his CEOs and hard focus on strategies and priorities. I asked him about his management style, and this is what he told me.
See, all our businesses are run by our professionals and competent CEOs. I do not interfere in their day-to-day functioning. My role is limited to formulating a strategy, capital allocations, and their performance review.
So what drives Adani? Is it making money that drives him? What does having so much money mean to him? I asked him these questions, and Adani understands that ultimately money means power. It is not just to keep his family secure, but also to influence others. But as he puts it, you can't chew on money. He is not a party goer. He is a vegetarian, but a foodie, and he relishes local food of any state. His idea of relaxing is still playing rummy with Preeti, his wife, at night. He adds with a smile that she's always the winner, and he ends up owing her money, probably the only time he's really lost money. So the ninth big mantra of Adani's success is both his simplicity and his humility and his penchant for handling bigger challenges. When I asked him this question, he told me this.
These rankings and numbers do not matter to me. These are only media hype. I'm a first generation entrepreneur who had to build everything from scratch. I get my thrills from handling challenges, and the bigger they are, the happier I am.
And this comes to the 10th big mantra for his success, and this is my final one, is that understanding that true happiness is not just taking from society, but in fact giving back. When I asked him what made him happy, this was his answer.
This year, I celebrated my 60th birthday. This personal milestone apart, on this occasion, my family committed rupees 60,000 crores to the Adani Foundations to support mainly three social causes which is close to my heart: education, healthcare, and skill development, which are foundational for any nation. This has given me immense satisfactions and happiness, which no professional achievement can ever give.
It is Adani's never waste a crisis approach and the extraordinary ability to create enormous value in whatever he does that has propelled Adani to the pinnacle of Indian business in just 3 decades. I would like to leave you with this quote of his, which is what also makes him so tremendously successful.
See, Raj, I am a born optimist and never lose hope.
I'm sure there are many more such mantras of success from Gautam Adani. I've learned a lot from this. Thank you for listening to this episode of Nothing But the Truth. I look forward to having you with me the next time, and I'll leave you with this very positive note that he said, that there is hope and there is optimism, and this is, let's not forget, the 3rd richest individual in the world saying so, and India's richest and Asia's richest. Nothing but the truth.